Hey guys, welcome to the latest video of Mules of Online Learning. In this particular video, we will be covering um, until successful scope, and as the name suggests, the until successful is like one of the scope in which any activity, any palette that is being placed inside it, it will be repeated for a configurable number of intervals and for a configurable number of times. So we will be clubbing this until successful scope along with the Groovy script as well. So we will be having a use case to showcase like how we can execute a out of box script based code. So we will be covering that part as well. But as we follow this practice of referring to the official documentation of MuleSoft, let's search for until successful. So this is the um, until successful so until successful scope. So this talks about is like it will execute until they succeed or exhaust the maximum number of retries. Like it runs synchronously, it doesn't run asynchronously, but if a compound, if within the scope fails to connect or to produce a successful result, until successful retries failed, until all the configured retries are exhausted. If a retry exceeds, the scope proceed to the next available component in the positive scenario, and if it doesn't, it will throw an error like maximum retries exhausted, something like that. Okay, so where this until successful can be successful, it can be used like dispatching to the different outbound endpoints while calling a remote web service, and it is not that much stable, so we want to try it multiple times before we get a successful or a final negative response from the end system. Similarly, it can also be used for executing a component method like Spring Beans or any Java based code on which is dependent on some unreliable resources, like it could be a DB or something like that, or using a subflow to execute several actions until they all succeed. So even after like a configurable number of maximum retries it get failed, then it throws an error like mule retry exhausted. We will be covering the mule exception handling in later part of the videos, so stay tuned for that. After apart from this max retry, there is one more factor like milliseconds between the retries, like between every retry, how much time the mule runtime will wait in order to start the next retry. We will come to know about this in the later part of the video. And this is the part of variable propagation. So it starts with the same variable and the values present before the execution of the block. Every execution will have the same set of values, and new variables and modification to already existing variables while processing one element are not visible in the next execution. So it will if the execution finishes correctly, the variables are propagated to the rest of the flow, otherwise it will create the same values and same variable will be present every execution of the until successful scope. Okay, so let's quickly start with our demo part. I will open the Anypoint Studio. So we will be creating a main flow that will be calling an external API call using until successful scope, and how to make it available or non-available, that will be covered as a part of scripted execution. Okay, so let's right click and go for new Mule project. I will give it the name as until successful. Okay, I will click on finish by selecting the Mule runtime is 4.3.0. I will also like to use the domain project which we have referred, so I will right click on the project level, go for properties, click on Mule project, and here domain I will change it to domain project. I will click on apply and close. So it is showing some warnings what it is all about. It is for 1.5.16 version of of HTTP connector. So it is asking me to go for a right click quick fix. So it is showing me to, I will click on finish, so it should go by now. And similarly I will follow the same thing for socket connector as well. And basically it checks like the same definition is available in domain project as well as in the main project which we are creating. So it doesn't make sense to keep the project file in the references in both the files. So some sort of that and the error is coming up, so we will remove that warning by using the quick fix. What I will do after that is like I will pull up a HTTP listener. I will put up a logger as well. Okay, and I want to use the until successful scope as well. I will go to core and I will drag and drop this one, and I will use the HTTP request as well. This will act as a call to the external API. Okay, I would also like to set the payload after it, because just in case it gets successful, it should set the payload and log it properly and end it in the normal fashion. Since this is a domainized project, I will be using the domainized HTTP listener config, that is 8081. I will give the path is until successful. By default, if we don't give any method, it will be get. I will put in some message over here. Started until successful flow. Okay, and within here I would like to put something different, like call to, sorry for that, call to external API. And within the configuration I will pick up the HTTP request configuration, which is 8081 listening on localhost, and I will put this as external API call. This will be our path. So this will come up as the overall path 8081 external API. I will go for the next thing, set payload. I will put something like this, setting payload in main flow dot, and after that I will log it, logging from the main flow, and after that I will log the actual payload. Okay, I will save this guy. Now as you know, like we have set up this external call, but we need to define it as well. Okay, so what I will do, I will drag and drop one HTTP listener again, and I will rename this particular flow as external API call, and I will configure this HTTP listener with domain configuration as external API call, and I will put it like this. I will go to core. I would like to log the message first, like so I will be like putting like to call to external API initiated. Okay guys, and after this I will be setting up a payload mentioning setting the payload in external API call, and again I would like to put a login message in the very end of it, and I will mention call to external API on flow ended successfully dot control s. Okay guys, so this will be the flow. We will initiate with listener. After that we will go for external call. It will come over here. It will set the payload. Again it will go back, set the payload, and finally it will log, and this is the end. Now what happened if somehow this is not available at the runtime? So first thing, we need to configure the until successful. So as of now, by default 5 times retry within a interval of 60 seconds. So I don't want to wait for that long. I will change it to maybe 10 seconds or 10,000 milliseconds when the same thing, and it should retry for 3 times. Okay, and now I want to use the script the scripted part of the particular where we can toggle it basically. So I will search in the exchange and I will run for scripting module that you have to identify from your exchange. Use the latest one and click on finish. After that I would like to use this service as a HTTP call, so I will put over here. I will rename this flow as the state toggle flow, as it will toggle the state of the flow from start to stop or stop to start as we mention it. Okay, so within the path I will give as toggle as the path. After that I will put a logger, and the logger should log the flow requested to be toggled is, I will put plus plus, and I will be taking that value from the query params with the name as flow name. Okay guys, yep, this sounds okay. And after that I should use some scripting using the execute command. I will put over here. I will search if it gives some value. If not, I will manually write over here. So I will use Groovy. I will check the flow equals to registry dot lookup flow name, and here it should come up the name of the flow. So in our case it should be external API call dot get, and after that I will check if flow dot is started, then flow should stop, otherwise flow should start. So I'm not pretty much sure about the exact code what we need to write, so I have tried this earlier, but it should look something similar. Let's quickly check. So let me copy paste this guy first. So look up by name, this sounds okay. Registry look up by name. Okay, I have put something, some things are not appropriate, so I will remove this part And let me try to explain. So it basically calls the lookup by name function, which is available in the registry class, and it looks for the name of the flow name, and this is being picked up from a variable flow name, and after that its value is being taken and placed in the flow variable, and then this flow is being checked if it is in the started state. If yes, then it will stop, otherwise it will start. So anyways, it will turn on and off, like you can say yes, no, boolean format, something like that. Okay, now we need to define the variable. I will go over here, right click. I want to add this to favorite because I'm using it quite frequently. I will place something over here. I will name this variable as flow name, as the value as attributes dot query params dot flow name. Okay, and this is what I'm logging as well. So remove this guy and put where's dot flow name, and similarly this is referring the flow name. That should be fine. I will put a logger in the very end of it, and I will put some appropriate message. The flow toggled is, I will put something name bears dot flow name. So I think that should be okay for now. To check the connectivity, so I will right click and I will run the project. So it is deployed successfully. Let me clear the console, and I will hit this main service in the positive scenario. After that we will toggle the state of this particular external API, and then it will stuck in the until successful. It will try for 3 times, and after it will show the maximum try exhausted error. So let's get started. This is the approach. So this is until successful. I am clicking on send button. It is setting payload in the main flow. Let's quickly check the console logs. It started with the first logger, started until successful flow. After it goes here and go for this particular logger, call to external API initiated, call to API initiated. After it will set the payload and log it, and when it is logging, call to external API flow ended successfully. After that it will go back to set payload and it will log it, setting payload in the main flow. So this is how the positive flow will work. Now I will clean the console once again, and I will toggle the state using the flow name as external API call and toggle it. So it shows no value present. It gives me some error like that. Let's quickly check. One moment. Toggle. It shows attribute query params flow name. This should be okay. After that there is a logger. There is where's flow name, and finally it logs it. I think this should be pretty much okay, but it shows error in the execute command somehow. So let's quickly check once again. Let's save this guy and we'll check the console. I will hit the external API call. Let's see what is the name of this flow. external API call, this is correct only. So yes, this time it is executed. The flow is toggled, it is stopping the listener. So this particular listener is now stopped. So I will clean the console and hit the main service once again. Now it is trying attempt 1 of 3 because that particular listener of external API is not reachable. After some time it will try for the second attempt. After that it will try for the third attempt, the final attempt. After that it will be exhausted with all the retries available. So it throw the error mule retry exhausted. So now what I will do, I will toggle the state once again. The state is now toggled, starting the bean listener, and this listener is now up and running. So I will again go for the normal flow, and I got the success response. So in this way, uh, this particular video helped you to understand what are the different capabilities available for until successful, under what condition we should use it. In place of request HTTP request external API, you can have any other outbound connections or outbound endpoints which you try to connect. You can put it under until successful. It gives a unique feature of configuring it at customized number of retries and the interval between the retries. And we also covered in this video like how to use the Groovy script in order to toggle the state of a particular flow directly, and we have referred this flow name from the query params, so it can be used as a single external service as well as and when required, so that even the support team, when they don't want to log into a particular uh, control plane, whether it is being on cloud hub or on MMC, if someone is still using it although it is end of life already, so they only need to use postman and they can directly make a hit on this service. Just they need to know what specific flow name needs to be stop or start, and basically it uses this initial state option. So it is either started or stop, so you can either manually configure it or you can do it by putting some coding logic around it. So I hope you like this video, and I will come up with some more interesting topics later on, and thanks for watching. Have a great day.